If you learn how fear shapes behavior, you'll never need to raise your voice to control people. You'll never need to threaten, to command, or to dominate, because the human mind doesn't need force. It only needs the illusion of safety. Most people don't realize this, but the world runs not on intelligence, not on strength, but on obedience. Entire civilizations, companies, even relationships are powered by silent submission. People bending their will, not because they're weak, but because they've been trained to fear disapproval more than death itself. This isn't a guide on manipulation. It's a map of the invisible cage your mind already lives in. Because right now, you're not as free as you think. Your thoughts, your reactions, your silence. They've all been shaped by unseen systems of control. And until you understand how they work, you'll keep mistaking obedience for peace. So listen carefully. I'm about to show you 4 psychological mechanisms that quietly turn independent thinkers into obedient followers. These are the subtle codes of control, the architecture of submission itself. 1. The validation loop. Humans are wired for survival. But what keeps us alive today isn't food or shelter. It's approval. Every smile you earn, every compliment you receive, gives your brain a chemical hit, dopamine. It feels good. It feels right. So you start chasing that feeling again. You start altering your behavior, not because you believe in what you're doing, but because you want to keep the reward coming. You smile when you don't mean it. You agree when you don't care. You shrink yourself to fit what others expect. And that's how the control begins. Not through punishment, but through pleasure. The system doesn't need to threaten you. It just needs to make you enjoy being approved. And when your happiness depends on external validation, you become programmable. The most obedient people aren't the ones afraid of pain. They're the ones addicted to being liked. So the next time you feel that urge to please, pause. Ask yourself, am I being kind or am I being controlled? 2. The authority illusion. Humans don't just follow authority. They need it. We crave someone certain when we feel uncertain. And that craving blinds us. A confident tone, a straight posture, a decisive statement, and suddenly logic is irrelevant. The mind shuts down. The body obeys. It's an ancient instinct. In the tribe, following the leader kept you alive. But in the modern world, that instinct has been hijacked. Confidence now sells lies, charisma hides ignorance, and boldness is mistaken for truth. That's how average minds rise to power. Not because they're right, but because they sound right. Meanwhile, the ones who actually think, who hesitate, who doubt, who question, appear weak. Their uncertainty gets mistaken for incompetence. That's the glitch. The brain confuses clarity with authority, and authority with truth. To break that illusion, you must learn to separate tone from truth. Ask yourself, are they confident because they know, or because they need me to believe they do? Once you start asking that question, you'll stop kneeling to false leaders and start listening to reason again. 3. The comfort cage. Comfort is the most elegant form of control ever created. No chains, no prisons, no violence. Just pleasure, subtle, warm, endless. People think comfort equals peace, but peace isn't always freedom. Sometimes it's sedation. The system doesn't silence rebels with fear anymore. It distracts them with convenience. Streaming, scrolling, gaming, gossip, dopamine. Tiny hits that keep your brain occupied just enough to forget that you're wasting your potential. And here's the trick. Once you get used to comfort, discomfort starts to feel dangerous. You'll defend the very system that numbs you. You'll justify it. You'll call it balance, when it's really decay. The comfort cage doesn't just keep you safe. It keeps you harmless, predictable, quiet, exactly how the world wants you to be. Break comfort once in a while. Embrace the boredom, the hunger, the silence, because that's where awareness grows. And awareness is something the system can't monetize or control. 4. The consensus trap. Here's the most dangerous mechanism of all, the one that makes people surrender their minds without even realizing it. Humans are social creatures. Our brains equate acceptance with survival. That's why rejection feels like pain. Because in ancient times, isolation meant death. But today, that instinct backfires. Because we live in a world where everyone is desperate to be accepted, even if it means abandoning their own truth. You've seen it happen. People silence their opinions the second they realize the crowd disagrees. They mimic beliefs they don't understand, repeat ideas they don't question, and call it morality. That's not morality. That's mental slavery wrapped in virtue. The crowd doesn't think it echoes, and when you seek truth from an echo, you'll find nothing but noise. The consensus trap doesn't need violence or censorship. It uses belonging as bait. You'll police your own mind. You'll fear your own voice, and you'll call it peace. True freedom begins when you're willing to be disliked, when you can stand in silence and still feel whole. Because truth doesn't survive in agreement, it survives in solitude. Here's the part most people never face. Submission isn't a flaw in human nature. It's the system's masterpiece. We were never taught how to think. We were taught how to behave. Schools reward obedience. Jobs reward silence. And all of it molds you into something predictable. A person who fears standing alone. But once you see the design, you can't unsee it. You start to notice how every normal thing is actually programming disguised as peace. You realize that control isn't always external. Sometimes it lives inside you. in your fears, your habits, your attachments. And that's when something changes. You stop begging for permission. You stop seeking approval. You stop mistaking calm for freedom. Because freedom isn't comfortable. It's sharp, it's cold, it's lonely, but it's real. So if you're tired of being shaped, if you're done mistaking obedience for goodness, then stop asking how to fit in and start asking what you'd be without the need to. This isn't rebellion. This is awakening. Because the mind, once aware of its chains, can never be caged again.